Hello guys, welcome to another video. Black Dragon Empress by Mielke. Chapter 4 Trouble Arising, Yuma's Pav. The moment I woke up, I found out that was lying in a huge bed in the center of an unnecessarily huge room. It seemed to me like a Japanese-styled house, but the Western-type bed which looked like it was for nobility didn't quite fit that image. As I tried listening to hopefully pick up some clues regarding my location, I heard a beautiful voice. Someone was singing a song in a language which seemed familiar even though I didn't recognize it, and I was soon entranced by it. I didn't dare to make a sound as to not miss even a part of the song, and quite a few minutes passed like this. As the song ended, I felt a bit disappointed since I wanted to keep hearing this beautiful voice, but I knew I couldn't influence it. Wondering about what happened to me after losing my consciousness, I looked down to my chest area, which was wrapped in bandages. How am I still alive after being impaled through the chest? I wondered, but I had no idea and couldn't think of anything. "Good morning," an unfamiliar voice said, and surprised, I immediately looked towards the door. A rather short girl with light blue hair which reached down to her back stood in the doorway. "Oh, I guess good night would probably be more appropriate," she wondered, tilting her head. "Where am I?" I asked with an hoarse voice before coughing loudly, making her expression shift to worry. "Asuna," she called out to another girl standing outside the room, "please get me more medicine." "Of course, Asuna," a girl with long light blue hair said, bowing her head, and left the two of us alone. "I would appreciate it if you would stay alive," she said, and sat down on the bed. "You should focus on resting, little fallen angel." As she said that, I paled and tried to back away from her, but she pinned me down on the bed. "Sorry, I can't have you running away from me," she said, smiling, "at least not in your current condition." "How did you know?" I asked her weakly. "I mean, I really did my best to hide my presence." "You shouldn't underestimate me," she answered, smiling. "Don't judge others based on their looks." Just as I wanted to speak, the other girl returned with a cup filled with a steaming liquid. "You'll feel better after drinking this," she said, and gave me the cup. "Please be careful, it's very hot." "I'm not a child," I said, and burned my tongue while drinking too much of it at once. "Too hot." "Told you so," Asuna commented, snickering. "The medicine's effect also increases if you drink it slowly." "Please don't tease our guest too much," Asuna, the short girl whose name I never found out, told her. The two girls watched silently, waiting until I finished the so-called medicine before they spoke to me. "I never got to introduce myself," the short girl remembered. "I'm Mielke Acknowledgia too. Nice to meet you." "Don't tell me she's..." I thought, and unconsciously backed away from her in fear as I recognized the name. "No need to be afraid," she said, still smiling. "I won't do anything. I'm quite interested in you after all." Thank you very much," I thanked them, bowing my head, but she just gently pushed my back into the bed. "Just rest," she explained herself as I looked at her confused. "I consider it a favor towards a friend." "A friend? Don't worry about it, you'll probably understand sooner or later," Asuna said, and I leaned back. "I guess I got really lucky. I just hope she'll be okay without me." Just as I was about to fall asleep, a phone suddenly rang and Mielke answered the call. "Wait, what?" she suddenly yelled after listening for a bit. "Who was it? I'll confirm it immediately." Her expression darkened and I could see her smiling before she said, "Guess I'll go have some fun." "So you're taking off?" Asuna asked, and opened a door leading to what seemed to be a courtyard, allowing her to leave the house. A huge pair of pitch black wings with scale-like feathers and blue markings appeared from Mielke's back as soon as she entered the courtyard. "Black dragon wings? Well then, I'm off," she said, smiling, and spun around before ascending into the sky. "I hope you understand that you shouldn't talk about those wings, right?" Asuna asked me with an intense pressure coming from her. "Oh, of course," I replied, shivering from the sheer amount of pressure coming from her. "I won't speak about it." "I'm glad to hear that," Asuna said, suddenly smiling. "It would be bad if we had to silence you." "I take everything back. Even if she seems nice, she's really scary." Close double angle bracket. The next day, open double angle bracket. Issei's Pav. Sometime after another school day was finally over, I decided to eat a hamburger menu and entered the branch which was in town. Just as I was about to stand in line and wait until I could order, I spotted a familiar nun with blonde hair. "Hey Asia," I called out to her, and her expression suddenly brightened as she saw me. "Issei-san." I invited her, and the moment I saw her looking at her food strangely and wondering how to eat it, I really had to focus not to break down laughing. "Excuse me, are there any forks and knives around?" she asked me, and I nearly lost it. "Ah, for this, you can eat it with your hands," I explained and took a bit from my own hamburger. Delicious. I seriously laughed my ass off while writing this part. Tears of joy, tears of joy. Really, that's how you do it? She asked surprised and took something out of her small bag. Then I better wash my hands, she said and went to open a flask of holy water, making it even harder to focus. There's something called wet wipes here, I told her, giving her one. Please use it and put hat away. Ah, sorry, she apologized before taking the wipe and diligently cleaning her hands with it. Then, now I should pray before the meal, she said and clasped her hand in front of her chest. Lord. That could take a while. I'm done. Time to eat, Asia finally declared a couple minutes later and took a bite of her hamburger. Hamburgers are really quite tasty, you know, she said and kept eating it, smiling happily. To think she never ate one before. Well, it matches the reports I found. It seemed strange to me that she would be appointed to an seemingly abandoned church, so I asked Mielke to do some research. I think it's unnecessary to say that my findings interested me quite a bit. I mean, you don't get to meet a former, holy maiden, every day. Apparently her healing powers were discovered rather fast and she was brought to the church where she spent her time healing all kinds of injuries and illnesses. It seems she was branded a witch and excommunicated after saving a mortally wounded devil who then killed the exorcist chasing him. I wasn't able to obtain anything about what happened during this time, but my guess is that she was taken in by an fallen angel. She seemed to have been afraid of something which could be related, but maybe I'm just overthinking things. Issei-san, what is that place? Asia suddenly asked, pointing at the arcade on the other side of the street. That's the game center, I told her, and her face lit up in excitement. All right, let's go check it out. Close double angle bracket. A few minutes later, open double angle bracket. Asia yelled as she pressed her face against a crane game. Issei-san. This is Rachu-kun, there are a lot of them. Do you want one? I asked her and she immediately backed away embarrassed. So you like him? Yes, no. She stuttered with a bright red face, and I decided to take things into my own hand. All right, just leave it to me, I declared with full confidence and took out my purse. A few attempts later, Asia hugged the plushie I got her and said, "Thank you very much, I'll care for it forever." Something like this, I said, a bit flustered hearing her declaration, and offered, "If you want more, I can help you grab them." "There is no need," she denied. "This Rachu-kun is the best present due to our encounter today. I want to treasure it." Well then, let's continue with the next one, I decided, and led her over to the next game. Close double angle bracket. A couple hours later, open double angle bracket, cause I don't really want to describe everything that happened in the manga, seeing as it wasn't in the anime. Open mouth smile. After playing for hours, Asia excused herself and left towards her new home at the church. I felt a strange premonition as she left, but didn't really think about it as I didn't thought it was important. Arriving home a couple minutes later, I figured something had happened as I saw Mielke and Asuna sitting at the table with my parents. "I'm home," I said, and all four of them turned around to face me. "So, what took you so long?" Mielke asked, smirking. "Don't tell me you were yet on another date." Figured she knew about that. "A date, good job, son," Dad said, giving me double thumbs up, while my mom said, "So, when can we expect any grandchildren to spoil?" I yelled, surprised, just as a laughing Mielke fell down from her chair, which none of us seemed to mind as it happened quite often. "We're just friends," I explained, as they seemed to be getting the wrong idea. "I mean, I just went on a date with Yuma-chan a few days ago." "Speaking about Yuma, she woke up sometime yesterday during the night," Asuna said. "Kinda forgot to tell you. Going out with 2 girls at once, good job, son," my father stated, proud but completely missed the point. "2 already? I'm sure we'll get many wonderful grandchildren," Mom said dreamily. "Sorry to disappoint you, but today was the second time we met," I told them, hoping they would stop. Okay, Dad said, holding up his hands, surrendering. "Well, we'll leave you 3 alone, they seemed like they had something to tell you." "Have fun," Mom said, waving, and left the room with Dad following her and closing the door behind him. "I'll be blunt, we have a problem," Mielke suddenly said, all serious. "Your little friend is in danger of being killed in a ritual." "So why tell me now?" I asked her. "Had you told me sooner, I could have protected her." "Even you don't stand a chance against a group of 4 fallen angels and a small army of exorcists," she said, and I had to agree. "So what am I supposed to do?" I yelled at her, gritting my teeth in frustration. "You know Master can't act due to the treaty," Asuna said. "If she attacked, every member of the 3 factions would hunt her." "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have yelled at you. I silently apologized to them, bowing my head. I still remembered the treaty she once told me about but ignored it, worrying about Asia. The cruel treaty forced upon her by the Devil Elders just because she was his daughter. Mielke wasn't allowed to interfere with the factions, and at least one member of her peerage always had to be around her. Worst was that they even wanted her to work for the 3 factions to make amends for her father's actions. The 4 Maos didn't agree with them, as it were their own actions which led to her father involving himself in the war, but they couldn't do anything against their influence. She as well as her later completed peerage were forced to work until Mielke enrolled at Kuo Academy. I heard a rumor about it being a plan of the Maos to buy her sometime, but I'm not sure about that. We would like to help, but even the 2 closest to Kuo probably wouldn't make it in time, Asuna explained, and I nodded, accepting it. There is still a way, but it'll depend on your resolve to save her, Mielke said, and placed a familiar-looking flyer on the table. It was one of Ria's flyers with a printed magic circle which began glowing in a faint crimson light the moment it touched the table. Guess I don't really have a choice if I want to save her, I said, taking the flyer. Well then, what am I supposed to offer her in return? What do you think she'll want the most? She asked me, smirking. Try to find it out for yourself. Thank you very much, Mielke, I said, bowing to her, and took the sheet of paper. I know what I have to do. Return to me when you're finished, she told me. It'll be time to continue your training. By the way, please remember to spare a short blonde fallen named Middled, she said as I was about to leave. I'll remember it. I left the living room and entered my room before activating the magic circle on the flyer. Guess it's time to make a deal with the devil, I said as a red magic circle appeared in front of me and Ria's Gremory teleported in. So you're the one she gave the flyer, Ria said, smiling amused. Well then, let's hear your wish. Oh, it's not too much, I told her. I just want some help to attack a fallen angel base, and you're going to like the reward I'll offer you. Close double angle bracket. Half an hour later, open double angle bracket. After explaining all the details to Rias, she happily agreed to my deal and sent Kiba and Kaneko with me. The 3 of us made it near the church and are currently preparing ourselves for the assault. From the atmosphere we can be certain that there is a fallen angel present, Kiba told me as he took out a sheet of paper. A blueprint of the church? I asked, impressed by his preparations. You sure prepare well. It's the basics when attacking enemy territory, he explained, proud of himself, before moving on to the quite detailed blueprint. The church itself isn't that big. This is the sanctuary and behind it is the living quarters, Kiba told, pointing at the location on the blueprint. This sanctuary sure is suspicious, right? He continued, and I nodded in confirmation. From the entrance to the center of the sanctuary, you can make it in one go, but the problem is, I begun. There will definitely be an exorcist in the sanctuary, Kaneko, who hasn't said anything until now, finished. Yeah, we won't be able to enter the room of the ceremony so easily, Kiba had to admit. Well, there's no other way then going forward, I said, to which both of them nodded in agreement. Are you prepared to run through the gate in one shot? Kiba asked us, to which both of us nodded. Let's go, he yelled and dashed forwards, slashing through the lock on the front gate. Hurry, we should have been discovered the moment we got in, Kiba told us. You don't have to tell me, I answered as we run up the stairs, stopping in front of the church's door. Carefully opening it, we were met with quite the unexpected sight, as the church was seemingly abandoned. Don't let your guard down, Kiba warned me while looking around. There's someone here. After sniffing around for a bit, Kaneko pointed at a pill close to the altar and said, over there. Oh my, splendid work, a white-haired priest said, clapping his hands, and walked in front of the altar. Yo, it a reunion, it sure is heart-moving, he continued, holding up his right hand as a greeting. You, Kiba said, gritting his teeth, and I could see Kaneko visibly tensing as she saw him. There hasn't been a devil who's seen me twice, since I'm extremely strong and always defeat them the first time I meet them, he stated, quite proud of himself. But thanks to you guys, my policy got ruined, he continued. That means I want all of you to die. Just die already, you shitty devils. What the heck is his problem?